Hello, I'm Captain Andrea.
And I'm Commander Matthew.
Welcome back to TrekBack Tuesday.
This is the show that explores the galaxy to seek out new toys and new merchandise, and brings it to your timeline to review them. And today we're taking a look at this action figure set from Diamond Select Toys from 2008.
It's featuring one of the most famous episodes of Star Trek, Amok Time.
And this 2-pack here gives us Kirk and Spock in their Kali Fi outfits. So Amok Time was the season premiere for Season 2 of the original Star Trek series, and it's in fact the very first time we visit the Vulcan homeworld and get to see more of the Vulcans in their natural habitat.
Yes. The reason for this is because Spock is going through Pon farr, also known as Vulcan heat. He needs to get back to mate, and he doesn't want to talk about it. Well, they can't really talk about it. So he spends the first half of the episode being really testy and going through like the worst case of PMS ever, until finally Kirk detours the ship and they go to Vulcan so that Spock doesn't die. Basically, they're saying he would have died of severe PMS.
Died of severe horniness.
That too.
Yeah.
But like the symptoms...
Like he has to mate or he'll explode like a grenade.
I mean, seriously, that was a little intense. Amok Time originally aired September 15th, 1967.
But a remastered version was aired on February 17th in 2007, 1 year before this toy came out.
In fact, I'm going to go and say the remastered version is the reason why we now have this set. Since this was the episode that brought us to the Vulcan homeworld, this was the first time we were able to see Spock interact with other Vulcans. And one of the things that we learned was that the females have a T before their names. You had T'Pring in this episode, T'Pring as his supposed wife, and T'Pau, who was... what was she? She was like the...
She was the big top lady of the Vulcans.
Pretty much, yeah. But then later on in Enterprise, we also have T'Pol. So this was a trend that did seem to continue on. But that wasn't the big, interesting thing that we learned about in this particular episode.
Yes, Amok Time brings us the very first occasion in Star Trek history where Live Long and Prosper was actually a thing. Take a look at this 2-pack here. It's a really nice, large 2-pack.
Yes, it is.
Really cool packaging. You can see everything in it. We're getting some very unique accessories here. And some kind of, not necessarily unique bodies, but Spock does have his combat belt on, for lack of a better term. His little combat sash.
No, his combat cummerbund.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Go.
Yeah. A few other accessories we're going to take a look at once we open them out of the package. And on the back here, I can show you real quick.
I really like what they show on the back.
This is when Diamond was doing a lot more with Star Trek, and you see all the mini-mates, the vehicles, the role-playing things like weapons, larger scale ships, more action figures, a lot of things.
There was a lot of stuff happening, and
it's a big time for Trek being revived, it seems like.
That was a good time for Trek.
So let's go ahead and open up this Amok Time 2-pack and take a look at what's inside. So we've got our 2-pack open real quick. We just wanted to show you that this is what you have to deal with once it is loose. There are 10 twisty ties to deal with, which Diamond is known for. That's kind of their thing, is twisty ties.
I know.
But we'll be able to deal with this very easily and quickly because this is the 23rd century after all.
And it's the magic of filmmaking.
Yes. So here is our first figure of the 2-pack, Captain Kirk, out of the box. So this is actually a really good likeness of Captain Kirk.
Yeah, I have to say, it's not the most detailed, but in this case it really doesn't matter because they really captured the essence of Captain Kirk.
Yeah, so I'll say like some of the earlier Art Asylum figures were much better sculpts of William Shatner.
Yeah.
And this does seem like with this whole second wave, I guess you can call it, because first was the Art Asylum, then came the Diamond figures. I think the second wave as Diamond, they're very, very good. Sculpting was like 1 or 2 notches less detailed, though. These are like more mass-produced, maybe that's why.
Possibly. I mean, it definitely has the Art Asylum vibe. The body is very similar to what the Art Asylums were, and yeah, you can definitely see some of the detail work and how they paint it and everything, but yeah, it's definitely different. Also, I would like to point out that his hair is a little dark for Captain Kirk, but it still worked.
And he is sporting that nice slash wound across his chest from when Spock hit him with the Lurpa.
You mean the Lurpa?
Well, oddly enough, this Lurpa here, which, as you can see here, it's got the little knobby bit on the bottom, the blade on the top.
Oh, snap!
Got a little bit of blood smudge on it, which I don't know if that was actually on purpose.
That was on purpose, because this one doesn't have it.
It's true, but it's such a thin amount, so I really wonder what the deal is with that.
No, I think that was deliberate.
It is kind of cool that it's there.
It's deliberate. I'm saying it. I'm the captain. It stands.
It's deliberate, Captain.
It's deliberate.
We'll come back to the accessories in a bit, though.
Yeah, but that's just really cool.
I'll show you the back of Kirk as well. And yeah, you can just see, it's basically, I think the only thing that's new on this Kirk is probably just that torso because of the slash. I think that's where the main difference between this and the Spock is that they just have new torsos. Everything else is a recycle from previous Diamond figures. All right, so let's go ahead and look at Commander Spock, the best in the fleet. Which is what we learned in this episode also. He's like the best in all of Starfleet. Speaking of, Spock's now on the stand, and Again, the only difference here is that little cummerbund he's got on him.
I love that sash.
The really silly sash that he had to wear.
Likeness-wise, he's also really great.
Yeah, I think they really got the eyeshadow on him pretty good as well.
No, I'm sorry, no, that's the one place where they fail.
There's some, there's little schmutz on this
Somebody
side.
was a little heavy-handed. It's not even. Anyone who wears eyeshadow knows you gotta make it even. So this.
Well, their first day in hair and makeup in Starfleet.
I'm sure, but it's still, the likeness is very good. In fact, I think I like the likeness of this better than I do of Kirk.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And there's the back as well.
I like how it looks as though he's raised one eyebrow.
Yeah. So also interesting note as we talk about the paint jobs of these guys is that another difference with them is their deco in that they both have kind of like dirty pants. Mm-hmm. They're not just straight black. They've got some mud and some dirt on them. Especially their boots. You can see probably most on the Spock figure is that there's a lot of dirt because they're fighting in that sand pit.
Yep.
Which is a really nice little touch.
One of the things I like about this is that they really tried to recreate that moment from the episode. I mean, it's just great.
So let's talk articulation now, shall we?
Ooh, articulation is fun.
Let's use the captain here. So head can turn left and right, not bullet jointed, so no up and down, just left and right. Shoulders are bullet jointed though, so you can have a full range of motion there. And we do have the bicep swivel, as well as wrist articulation and elbow. So we got some decent arm movement. There's nothing in the torso, but it does. Well, maybe it doesn't actually twist. It looks like it may not twist. I was actually expecting the waist to move, and I'm surprised it doesn't. I don't think it's stiffness, because I just tried the Spock as well.
I think it's... Wow. It looks as though the waist doesn't move.
That's a surprise. Legs go up and down, but no splits on these figures. Unlike the newer Diamond figures, you can do that. These are from 2008, so we're not quite there yet. We do have thigh. He can do the stanky leg. And his foot does go up and down a little bit, so you can pivot a little bit with the toes, but that's about it. So
he can do ballet.
Limited articulation. So not the worst articulation, not the greatest either, but better than average.
I'm okay with this type of articulation. I mean, one thing that I've never really understood have been like the bicep and the mid-thigh swivels, but that's just because the body doesn't naturally do that. I know if for posing sake it helps. I don't hate this. Spock down.
Spock down.
Spock
Even though in reality it was Kirk that went down.
Oh yeah.
So let's go ahead and talk about the accessories. So we already mentioned the Lurpas. And we get 2 of those, 1 for each combatant.
Yeah, which is pretty great.
And we also get this nice little tiny hammer.
Oh my, whatever could we use that hammer with?
How about the Vulcan gong?
What? But this just isn't any gong.
So this gong you can go wapow. If you hit it, you can go wapow, wapow, and then it breaks. There you go.
Yeah,
wapow. So yeah, 'cause that's what Spock breaks during the episode. In fact, when they have their Kali-Fi fight, Kali-Fi fi fo fum.
It sounds like a cauliflower dish.
So it's really cool. This Vulcan gong can break. That's a nice touch.
It really is. I like the fact that you can hang this. It's not on a stand, so you have to provide your own. But I like that better. I'd rather have it like this than have a stand that's just plastic and it doesn't really move that much.
In the show, though, it looks very green and jade. So here, it's not quite the right color as far as I can tell. I don't think that was just lighting in the show.
No.
But it was like a greenish color, I feel like, whereas this is more straight up silver.
Yeah, in this case, I'm going to chalk it up to they didn't want to use any more extra paint.
Maybe.
And I'm okay with that. I really am, because this is a very simple color palette, and it makes it easier to figure out, what's what.
So let's do the most important test now and bang the gong. Bong, because it's time for them to fight. Yes. Let's see if they can actually hold their weapons. So my Kirk's hand there is a little gnarled, and it's got a rather thick paint job on it, so it's getting a little hard to actually
okay, got it. Okay. So Spock can sort of hold it in one hand. This finger is it's too tight.
Yeah, what I had to do was actually get his hand on the blade part, then run it down there, but you can kind of see I actually got some of his hand paint on the wooden handle. So that was the only way to get that on there, and now let's try this other hand again. This other hand was not as bad, actually.
Yeah, this is just way too tight, because check this out. If you look over here.
Yeah, it's a very, very tight fit. I mean, I did get it on him, but it's a little tight.
I'm literally wedging out.
They're only meant to be held to like a certain hand.
Yeah.
So, I think this hand is definitely meant to hold the base, whereas...
Absolutely.
Yeah, this one is meant to hold the handle, but yeah, he's also very stiff.
That's the thing. It's like the way the hand is, it is really tight. It's like, but no, it's formed really.
And you can see actually,
yeah,
you can see this is where you've been running the hand down because there's flesh paint, so it came right off because there was way too much paint on that.
Oh god, yeah, the hands are just a mess. I think that would be the big critique on it, is that the hands are a mess.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I really don't have any complaints about the characters, how they look, or any of it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because it actually is a really great 2-pack otherwise. But yeah, the hands are just gnarled little messes.
Yeah.
It's not easy. But yeah, you have to, the cheat is you first have to run this part of the blade into the hand.
Yeah, see, I'm not okay with that.
Yeah, it's
I'm
a lot
not okay
of
with
effort.
having to do that.
It's a lot of work to get that there. And since you can't really spread his legs, you can see here his legs are actually a little warped. They're kind of a little close together. They could just chalk it up to age. I don't quite know.
I kind of feel
you
like
have to hold on to that. Let's see if we just put him down flat, maybe.
I sort of feel like that was also just naturally how...
Kirk stands fine. Spock's legs are a little... No, you got him. Yeah.
But no, Leonard Nimoy was much slimmer in the legs, it feels like.
Yeah.
I think if you look at it, you'll see his legs were very lean. So I think that's what they were kind of going for, and it just accidentally created this kind of thing. So, Commander Matthew, what are your final thoughts on this?
Well, Captain, I do like the set very much, and they do look very good posed like this especially. I like the accessories, a lot of good touches. The breakaway gong is especially a nice touch, but I do again question the color, if it is 100% accurate or not to what was used on Vulcan. But it's fun to have the gong.
Yes. How often do you get a gong?
Really? Yeah. In terms of this, we are missing one weapon that they used on the show in that episode, which was the on wound, which was that strap, that whip kind of thing that they had for the very end of that fight.
You mean when we kill Kirk?
Yes, when we kill Kirk.
Yes.
But really, that wouldn't have looked that good anyway as a toy, as an accessory.
But what would it have done? He would have had to put it around his neck, and then it just would have created all sorts of weird conversations.
Really would have. So, otherwise, they're really great figures. Just the problem is getting them to hold their weapons. But they do hold them, which is great. Just a matter of getting them in there.
There we go. Now you can actually really see them in battle mode.
Yeah. Let's see if we can actually pose them and get them a little more dynamic. I don't think you really can.
You really can't, but... Well, maybe. Everyone can watch you play with it. No.
Almost. You can almost counterbalance it. So that, yes.
There we go.
Yes, you can.
Yes. There we go. Good job.
Boom, 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 boom.
Amok
Time theme.
I'll let you have that.
Thank you, Captain.
Mm-hmm. I like, though, how Kirk is just... How they're not looking at each other. They're fighting, but they're not looking at each other. So who are they fighting?
There we go. Is that better?
That looks a little better. It is more dynamic, which is nice.
I will say that's kind of what I wish they did for these figures, is the heads. I wish there were new head sculpts.
Yes.
Especially Spock. He's got the blood fever, and he spends a lot of the episode doing this.
I know, it was so creepy, and I never understood. Oh!
Kirk just cut his face. Kirk just cut him good. But yeah, actually, the head is actually a little bit articulated. It does go up.
Yeah. Oh, his head's
It does
moving.
have a slight ball joint after all. So.
Oh, check that out. Look at Kirk's all like, oh, game on. Come here. I kill you now. Actually, I think.
So if you actually flip it upside down, it does fit better in his hands. That's neat.
A good thing to know. Because if you remember in the episode, he did spend more time using this end.
Yeah, that's what he used. Boom. That's what the stuntman used when they broke the gong.
Oh my god, you could tell the stuntman.
Oh, that was the best part.
Hilarious.
Yeah. They did not try and hide that stuff back then at all. So, Spock spent so much time being creepy and everything. Why wasn't there more creepy face sculpts? These are just very neutral head sculpts. They're not very expressive at all. I wouldn't have minded seeing Kirk be a little angrier because he was fighting him, especially... That's what this 2-pack represents, is the fight. So I kind of wish there was more expressive quality in both their faces.
Okay, I'll agree with you on that. I don't know if Kirk needed an angrier expression because while he was fighting, his fight was more about protecting Spock and getting Spock through this. I mean, yeah, he wanted to not die, but he was really more about Spock. So I'm okay with this sort of more neutral face on him. But with Spock, yes, absolutely. It would have been nice to have. Even if they did something darkened it, under the eyes, just to create that mildly creepy effect. That wouldn't have been bad. Yeah, there are definitely some things that they could have done to help make it more dynamic.
So that's our look at Diamond Select's Amok Time 2-pack with Captain Kirk and Commander Spock in their Kali Fi fight outfits from 2008.
How many tricorders would you give this if given a choice?
What would I do with those tricorders? Scan them? I only need one tricorder to scan them, Captain.
On a rating scale.
What are we rating? Tachyon pulses? Chronotons? I don't understand your query, Captain. I'll ask the computer maybe for help. Should I ask the computer?
You know what? I'll tell you what. How about you go to the transporter room?
Yes.
Get onto the pad.
Yes.
And we'll send you somewhere nice.
That would be nice, Captain. I haven't taken a vacation in 3 years.
Cool. I know a few sons that could really use good looking into.
So that's our look at the Diamond Select 2-pack of Kirk and Spock from Amok Time.
I'm Captain Andrea.
I'm Commander Matthew. We'll see you guys next time for another episode of TrekBack Tuesday. Until then, live long and buy toys.
They're very light.
You doing the Star Wars Cantina theme with the
I was.